It is widely believed that having a starting quarterback on a rookie contract is essential for success in today's NFL. If that is the case or not is always debatable. Patrick Mahomes is currently in the spotlight. Patrick Mahomes' mega contract won't hamper the Chiefs' championship window. Is that possible? Of course it is. Here's why. Patrick Mahomes' mega contract and the Chiefs' championship chances. It is widely believed that having a starting quarterback on a rookie contract is essential for success in today's NFL. NFL teams have sold out to the model of signing an unproven young quarterback, taking advantage of his capped rookie salary, and making a run at the Super Bowl during the window before the QB is due for a major contract extension. This model has been in place since the Seattle Seahawks won Super Bowl 48, with Russell Wilson earning less than $1 million and hitting the team's salary cap that season. Since then, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Los Angeles Rams, and the Kansas City Chiefs twice have all advanced to the Super Bowl, despite the fact that their quarterbacks were paid a pittance in comparison to the rest of the league. The working theory is as straightforward as it is simple. The less money you have to spend on quarterbacks, who are often the most expensive position in the league, the better off you are in terms of assembling a complete roster. However, this strategy is not infallible nor a one-stop solution for reaching the promised land. First and foremost, teams must select the most suitable quarterback. Second, even if a young, brilliant quarterback is able to lead his club to a Super Bowl victory in his first 3 or 4 seasons, especially when playing for a team with a deep roster, there is no assurance that he will do so. Furthermore, clubs have demonstrated that they can win even when quarterbacks eat up considerably larger parts of the salary cap. After beating Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl in February, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have the 6th highest amount of money committed to quarterbacks in 2020. In 2015, the Denver Broncos, who spent the 6th most amount of money on quarterbacks, did the same. The Atlanta Falcons, who received the most quarterback money in 2016, should have won Super Bowl 51. Matt Ryan's bloated deal had little to do with the team's squandering of a 28-3 halftime lead in that match. The fact that the Chiefs are beginning to suffer the financial consequences of Mahomes' $500 million contract extension, a 10-year deal with an average cap cost of $46.7 million that begins next season, is one of the reasons why the rest of the NFL should be on high alert. Last season, the Chiefs were able to reap the rewards of acquiring Mahomes on a budget. His cap hit last season, $5.35 million, and was the 32nd highest in the NFL among quarterbacks, trailing just the league's 3 rookie first-round picks in terms of salary. This season, it's only a smidgen more at $7.43 million, putting him just behind number 1 overall pick Joe Burrow and just ahead of Browns backup Case Keenum in terms of salary and ranking. Unfortunately for those who support the Chiefs, this is awful news. What is the terrifying piece of news? Despite the fact that Mahomes' annual compensation is projected to skyrocket in 2022, NFL salary cap experts do not believe that the Chiefs' Super Bowl window will close at that point. Andrew Brandt, a former executive with the Green Bay Packers, believes that this is the type of agreement that will keep the Chiefs competitive for a long period of time. According to Brandt, when he was in Green Bay, he always attempted to minimize long-term damage by front-loading agreements wherever feasible. His understanding of the cap, however, was that it is changeable and that this situation is less about the balance sheet and more about the bottom line. The Chiefs have an incredible player locked up for a lengthy period of time with them. Patrick Mahomes' deal hinges on the Chiefs. There is no risk of free agency. Brandt was hired by the Packers in 1999, and it wasn't long after that he signed quarterback Brett Favre to what was referred to as a lifetime contract, according to the Packers. In 2001, when the ink dried on Favre's contract extension, it was widely regarded as the NFL's first legitimate $100 million agreement, as opposed to several prior funny money contracts whose real value fell far short of that threshold. Brandt and the team were more than eager to hand out a large contract to lock up Favre, who was then the best quarterback in the NFL, or at the very least the second best quarterback in the league behind Peyton Manning. Favre was 31 years old at the time, had won 3 MVP awards, and had made it to the Super Bowl twice, winning the latter game on both occasions. However, Brandt had one major objective in mind when it came to the deal from the perspective of the team. As a result, a 10-year, $101.5 million agreement was reached. Although Brandt makes the point that the Packers and Favre never reached a position where they needed to renegotiate prior to Favre leaving town, the fact that it didn't end up being a lifetime deal for Favre is not the most important message here. Green Bay was also able to generate flexibility by negotiating Favre's salary in such a way that he would not become the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. At the time, that honor belonged to Manning, until the 4th year of his contract, which occurred in 2004. Thus, even after taking into consideration the significant disparities between the NFL then and today, the Favre and Mahomes transaction have some parallels with one another. similar. In those days, 10-year contracts were more frequent. Following Favre, Drew Bledsoe, Donovan McNabb, Dante Culpepper, and Michael Vick all signed 10-year contracts of their own. However, agents quickly understood that having their stars imprisoned for such a long period of time has its drawbacks. There was not a single-year contract signed in the NFL between 2004 from Vick and 2020 Mahomes. Why? Because there was no possibility of free agency. Brandt was well aware that Favre would not be a Packer for the foreseeable future. However, after watching other teams suffer as a result of large-scale contracts awarded to quarterbacks who were past their prime, Brandt learned the importance of using a pay-as-you-go approach to quarterback compensation. To put it another way, don't try to get greedy by restructuring and deferring money to the future in order to obtain a short-term competitive advantage. As a result, what happened? During those years, the Packers were mostly competitive, with only one losing season in a 7-year span, and they advanced to the NFC Championship game in Favre's final season in the Packers uniform. When Brett Favre was dealt to the New York Jets, the Packers paid dead money charge of $600,000, which was a pittance in comparison. What is the situation with the Chiefs now? They should reap a similar benefit to those Packers teams. Relatively cheap labor in Mahomes' early years and no serious prospect of being chained by money owed to him while he's no longer on the roster. The final dead money charge against Mahomes, a meager $4.34 million, would occur in the 2025 season, the year he is 30 years old, according to Sport Track. In another sense, having salary cap room isn't important. From 2013 to 2020, the NFL's allowed salary cap per club climbed by at least $10 million, according to the league's data. Every year over that time period, the cap grew by a factor of 5.3% to 8.4%, almost as if on cue, as the league's financial situation improved. When the COVID-19 pandemic struck last year, it put an end to that for the 2021 cap, as NFL teams and the Players Union realized that the shortened 2020 season would result in income losses. Despite this, the recovery process is well begun. The NFL's cap for the 2022 season has already been established at $208.2 million, which is a $10 million increase over the cap for the current season. It's as if the league hit a speed bump for a single season and then continued on its way. Furthermore, there should be very few factors that contribute to cap downturns in the future. The new media contracts that the NFL inked with its broadcast partners in May are expected not to only help make up for the projected $4 billion in COVID revenue that was lost, but they also have the potential to raise the pie slices by an even higher amount in the future. As a result, the Chiefs should not have a problem with cap room in the future. The team now has 26 players under contract for 2022 with a total value of $177.8 million, topped by Mahomes' $35.8 million contract. The acquisitions of anticipated free agents Orlando Brown Jr. and Tyrann Mathieu are on the table, to say the least. Nonetheless, the Chiefs have a number of options for making it all work and keeping the nucleus of a championship team together for years to come. Benzan's rationale is rather straightforward. The Chiefs are aware of the present value of Mahomes' cap hits, which extend through the 2031 season. The cap should be raised incrementally each year for the next 10 years, maybe by a total of $100 million or more during that period. And what happens if there is a problem along the way? To be precise, the Chiefs can simply modify Mahomes' salary cap number for any given season. It can be as simple as that at times. The Chiefs and Mahomes, on the other hand, are in an excellent scenario at this point in their careers. They have a superstar quarterback who is at the pinnacle of his abilities, and his contract is not a financial burden on the team. From here, the opportunities are numerous. What's your take on the contract and the future of the Chiefs?